Bonnie Morefoot. I'm a reporter with Variety. I want to introduce Ed Stenson, director of Blink. Edith LeMay and Sebastian. So I wanted to start with the origins of the film. In 2020, an article came out in Canada about your plan to take a trip around the world with your 4 children. Can you talk about how you, Ed, discovered that article and how the film came about, how you convinced them, Edith and Sebastian, to make a documentary?
Well, actually, it was a fellow Canadian, Amit Day at MRC. They have a documentary division, and they reached out to the family, and so they brought the story to us. That's me and my co-director, Daniel Raw, and they asked us, do you want to go on we knew the family's story, being Canadian, and they asked us, do you want to go on this trip around the world with this family and tell their story? And it's not really a hard question to answer. This was something that we knew we wanted to do, and we were excited to do it.
And Edith and Sebastian, can you tell me about the decision to put not only yourselves but your 4 children on camera? Did you need to be convinced? Was there any hesitation? Did you do it also to bring a spotlight to this condition?
Well, honestly, at the beginning, we really didn't know what we were getting ourselves into. And it wasn't Nat Geo or Disney when you approach. It's a company from LA, so we just, in our mind, documentary, nobody really goes see documentary, I'm sorry. Well, we didn't know anything about movies and so they approached us, and the only thing we thought, it's gonna make like nice souvenirs for the kids, and for once I'm not gonna be behind the camera, I'm gonna be in front, so my kids know they have a mom on their souvenir. And we didn't think further than that. We just never expected to get so big along the way.
Ed, what was it like? I mean, Ed also co-edited Navalny with Daniel Rohr, who co-directed Blink with Ed. What was it like working with children on a film? How did you navigate that?
What am I going to say from that? No, it was, I don't have any children, but I really love kids, and the director of photography on the film, Jean-Sébastien Francard, he's also incredible with children. And I remember the first day, we were nervous because a family of 4 kids, you need to make a good impression. You're worried if the parents see that your kids don't, like these kind of slightly strange men that are following you around, it's going to be trouble. But within a couple of days of meeting them, the kids had come up with these nicknames for us. I was the giraffe because I'm very tall. Our sound man Giles Khan was the jellyfish because they couldn't pronounce his name. Where's the jellyfish gone?
They called them the Team Rocket from the Pokemon.
Yeah, they called us the villains.
It's supposed to be a compliment.
Yeah. Technically the villains, and for anyone who doesn't know, completely incompetent boobs who can't do anything. So that gives you a sense of what the kids thought of us, I think. But, to speak to the other part of the question, there's obviously ethical questions that come with working with children. And I think in that sense, it was a collaboration behind the camera at times when we were working with difficult material when it came to the condition. And so there were moments where we needed to make sure Edith and Seb were part of that conversation when it wasn't something emotionally straightforward.
And I think we were so lucky. Like I said, we don't know anything about movies, so that everybody's super nice. They got along so well with our kids. To me it was just normal, but it's talking to people afterwards, they said, oh, you were really lucky. It was honestly an amazing experience for us and for the kids. After the premiere, Leo came to the crew and he said, oh, I'm so sad that the movie is out, and what's that? Oh, because we won't get to see you as often. So really, it's like to them, they're part of the family now.
How did you talk to the kids about the documentary being made? I mean, was that a long conversation, or did they just kind of accept the crew right away?
Kids are very in the present moment, you know, we tell them we're going somewhere, they're going along, well, they might cringe, but they still do. We tell them there's guys that are gonna come and film them, and they're like, okay, you know, but when they came, you know, it's 3 boys that have no children, but give them candy and never say no. How better can it be? So, you know, for us, we talked about it, but it's the same thing as the trip, is that, you know, they kind of can't foresee what it is, except when they actually have it in front of them, so.
But even for us,
Yeah.
we didn't know what being part of the documentary would be. So we couldn't, but it was.
And also, you know, how it happened is that it wasn't the whole trip, so it was
Right.
parts of the trip in a few countries, so, when they came, we could actually be a good thing, so adults could talk to other adults and the kids could have other playmates, so.
Yeah.
So it was a good balance, if I can
Yeah.
say so.
I think it's only the day before the first time they came on the trip that I got really worried. I realized, oh my God, I'm gonna be traveling with people I don't know, with 3 men, they don't have kids, and they're gonna be with my kids, and as you can see, my kids are really quiet and composed. So I got really worried. So, but the minute they came, it was actually worse. Because I saw Ed for the first time, and he's just that really quiet guy, and he had white sneakers on, and he was coming to Borneo, like to go in the jungle with white sneakers. I'm like, oh great, he's a city boy.
Shall I leave again?
But to your credit, you were amazing. You're getting out of your comfort zone in so many ways.
Yeah, this was a useful experience for me in that way, for sure.
Let me ask you about, all 3 of you, about, the film could be very, you know, a downer of a film, like 3 children will lose their vision eventually. But I found it very uplifting, and the way you parent and your approach to what is going to happen, very uplifting. When you were making the film, was that something that you all talked about, that you wanted it to be an uplifting film and not about, you know, a disease?
The thing is, like, it was never our movie. Like, I didn't have a message. I was just on a trip with my kids, so it was really, they wanted to make a movie. So, at the beginning, well, okay, make a movie, but I didn't have any plans. I didn't have any message. But I was really glad how it turned out, because that's really who we are, and I was hoping that it would reflect that. But as soon as I get to know Ed, he's so sensitive, and I knew he would get us, and that it would represent. So we were never worried the way he would portray us.
Well, we were worried the day before we saw the movie,
Yeah.
but.
So was I.
Yeah.
No, I mean, speak to that too. I think, you know, as a documentary filmmaker, you're trying to meet your subjects where they are emotionally and not impose too much of an idea of where you think they should be. You're not a qualified therapist. You're not someone, you might be working with the human condition and trying to portray on screen someone who's in a position to say things that aren't true, and so for us it was meeting the family where they were on that journey. And I think, as Edith and Seb talk about, this is a complicated and long journey, and it's one that has many stages, but it's ultimately one that they have to go through in their own pace and their own time, and that it's also the kids' story to tell. And so that was part of the wish to make sure we stayed true to how they were dealing with the condition in the present moment.
And I think, to Ed's credit and the whole team, the way we look at the situation, the way we're trying to portray it to the kids, is that, you know, it's not a life-threatening disease. It's, you know, it's going to bring a lot of challenges, but their life is not going to be less meaningful. It's going to be their life, different life, but it's not going to be less beautiful. So it's not a sad story. It's just a story that has challenges, and you know, if you look at it, what is it, positive eye, then there's something to look afterwards. And I think, and we didn't know about it, but we had full confidence that he could try to translate the way we tried to show it to our kids. So and it does really in the movie. So for us, it's we're really glad.
I'm gonna open it up after one more question, but I just wanna ask about the cable car scene.
Yes.
What, I think it's revealed in the film, it's 9 hours that you're
10 hours.
in.
10 hours.
Okay, and 2 hours, and I don't know if this is revealed, but you call Ed and you say, what did you say?
Well, after playing all these games, it had been 3 hours, and
Because you don't know you're gonna be stuck for 10 hours. You just know you're stuck in every 5 minutes. You say, oh, it's gonna start right there.
so we had connection. Well, that was a good thing that we were able to have some outside world contact. But as a joke, I took my phone and I called Ed and I said, Ed, I know you didn't have enough drama in here, so you wanted action, now you have action. Bring somebody here. Help
So,
us.
and luckily you can't hear a fist bump, so as a documentary filmmaker, you obviously have these uncomfortable moments where you want to be compassionate to your subjects, but you're also secretly pleased that it's happened.
We are pleased you were by the situation.
Did I sound that pleased?
Yes.
I think it was like, oh no! But,
But stay a little longer until I find somebody to film me.
I'm so happy you're safe. No, of course, after that we were, we had a fixer and we scrambled around trying to find someone. We were joining the family the next week, and so we scrambled to find someone, and we found this incredible husband and wife team that climbed up the mountain with the firewomen and men who essentially were trying to rescue all the families. And so they spent 2 hours climbing up the mountain to get those incredible shots you see of the kind of car hanging in the mist. That was some just wonderful DOPs, Ecuadorian DOPs who just did that at the drop of a hat. So we're so thankful to them, and also the work that you did.
We never met him because
Yeah.
by the time we were out, he had to climb down the mountain. So the poor guy. Yep.
I guess that's the joys of documentary.
I think he had full health coverage, I'm pretty sure.
Well, let me open it up. I'm sure there's questions from the audience right here. No, you. Yeah.
Well, I guess I don't know how many of you guys are like me. I haven't heard about this business before, so I kind of want to ask the director, like how did you end up choosing this topic, and how did you go connected with the family? Like how did you got their permission, and like how did you actually kind of, I don't know if there's anything planned beforehand. Like I can imagine there can be like a lot of like stuff that you kind of need to figure out beforehand.
Do you want to repeat?
Yeah, no, the question was just, if I'm phrasing it correctly, just how did I come to the story, and what was my motivation to tell the story, as much as anything? Yeah, we came to it, as I said, through someone brought the story to us, and we knew that, the DOP on the film is incredibly talented, and we knew that we could do justice to the beauty of the natural world as we see it in the film. But what we were excited about, that's Daniel Raw, myself, was the chance to try to find a child's eye view at moments in the film. And it's obviously balancing that with the kind of core emotional journey of the parents. So we looked at Terrence Malick films like Tree of Life, and we thought, where can we place the camera? How can we make this a film that goes beyond a travelogue, and you feel like in those moments where Laurent's going on his first day of school, you get this rich and unique opportunity to be with a child in a moment that we've all had in our lives, and all felt that terror of going to school for the first time. And I think as a filmmaker, I really like those everyday tiny moments that stand in for a lot about our lives. And I was really excited to tell that part of the story, to really go as big as as Colin puts it, as big as the world and as small as a straw. That's what really excited me. I think to speak to, starting the project, it's one of those things where Edith and Seb were very amenable and were excited to be on the project. Obviously, as you say, you didn't know, but it wasn't a sense of convincing. Clearly I did a terrible job on the first day. That we all know now. But But yeah, does that answer
You
the
made
question?
up for it. It didn't
I
take
try.
long.
I'm a slow
on the
burner.
next day.
Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I guess like usually for documentaries, like
Yeah.
you kind of need some time to get the trust from your subject. So I guess.
Oh, in a trust sense too. Yeah.
What was the question? Sorry.
The question was just how did I gain the trust of the subjects? Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I can
please.
say.
Please, yes.
No, because Ed is like a very sensitive person, and he's so honest. And I read people really easily, and he was so open about everything, and I could trust that he would tell me. And you know, to me, if I know a person is honest, I know I could trust them.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I think being vulnerable is something that I try to do. If I'm asking someone in front of the camera to tell me something that's vulnerable and difficult to say, I think as a filmmaker, there's a way in which you can share parts of yourself to show that this is a communal experience. And I think as much as I could, within the boundaries of reason and ethical responsibility, try to be honest about the ways in which I struggle emotionally or the things that's part of my
And
way.
it's rare. I don't know about filmmakers, but as human being, it's really rare that people are vulnerable. And to me, it was very precious that you were, and that's why I trusted you from the beginning.
This feels very intimate right now.
Yeah. Well, there's a question right here.
So I'd
The
like to ask,
micros.
what was your ratio of film that you used? Oh. What was the ratio of film that you shot to what you used? And did you, when they showed the maps of going over the countries, were there some countries that you stopped in and you shot in that you didn't use? And just while I'm on it, I just want to congratulate these parents. You get the award for being the best parents of the year. Especially for having, I don't know how you kept your cool, it was just amazing.
For the camera.
Where are you from in England?
London.
Okay. So I always have to ask. I think we shot about, Edith's footage was about 175 hours we don't have much of Edith's footage in the film. It's more of a compliment to the stuff that we shot. I think our footage, maybe in the 300-hour range, maybe more. We had an incredible associate editor on the film who went through all of the footage and catalogued it, so she didn't amending details that you just miss as you're shooting, and that's one of the wonderful ways in film often we find new avenues for the story. There was another part to the question. Oh, the maps that we didn't shoot. Yeah, we actually showed every place that we went to, right? We went on 5 trips and we showed 5 trips. One thing that you don't see a lot of in the film is, I had an idea initially that the film would, because it's in a way about memory, I had an idea for the film in which we stay in Montreal and we flip back and forth to the trip, because I wasn't sure when we began the film whether we could sustain stories over the course of purely travel. I had a concern about that. But as we shot more and more of the Montreal trip, from an editorial perspective, it just didn't really work. So
And I just want to say, to congratulate you on how one was totally unaware most of the time of the camera, which is really unusual in these circumstances.
Thank you so much. I mean, I want to just shout out to Jean-Sébastien Franco, the DOP, because that is his incredible work. He fell in love with the kids. I mean, that's
And the kids
And vice
felt-
versa, yeah.
and vice versa.
Yeah, and I think it's because of he's a beautiful man, and he's very empathetic and wonderful, and he became Uncle JS, and he got down low with the kids, and the way we filmed was because of.
So the kids didn't feel that they were being filmed because it was a friend that was around. So he was able to play with them even with a camera in his hand.
Sometimes he didn't want to be playing. We have hours of footage of JS trying to have a break and the kids running after him.
Climbing on him, literally.
It's the problem you have when you're so nice that the kids just want to be around you all the time.
And when you have kids, it's like, stop looking at the camera, stop looking at the camera.
Yeah.
And as the location, you know, for the filming, there's a lot, like, they showed all the plays they filmed, but for us, related to your question, we were on the road for 15 months. We did 15 countries, and you just saw like 84 minutes of it. So for us, looking for everything we've been through and all the adventure, there's very little in it, but it's still, I was really amazed how it captured really the essence of what our trip was. Even if it didn't show all the beautiful places, it was really the essence of our trip.
Okay, I'm gonna go right here on the aisle.
How did Leo feel about being the only one that wouldn't become blind?
It's hard because Leo was really on the, you know, right now, all the other kids, it doesn't affect their daily life. Because it's only at night. During the day, they're still like anybody else. So he doesn't feel very different. He knows because we asked him the question, but really he doesn't think about it because kids, and you're kids, you think often about the future all the time. Like you always think about today. So like he's a kid. Like future is far away.
No, but he knows.
He knows, but it's not on his mind all the time. And but when we ask him, he tells us that he's gonna take great care of his siblings.
Yeah, and he's talked a little bit about inventing what was the machine he
No,
called
that's
it?
Lava.
Like Leo's.
Yeah. Oh
they
yeah.
all talk about
The
it.
machine that would cure the eyes.
Oh, okay. Let me go all the way back here, in the back. Yeah.
Hi. Apologies for my nasally voice. I knew there's a chance I'd walk out of here crying, but I swear I was dry-eyed until you all got on the stage. I was like, darn. But after a year of traveling with your kids, I think it's pretty amazing that it's clear to us, as complete strangers, how much they grew up. What have you learned from them about what it means to truly see someone else and to truly see yourself?
It's a hard question. Like for the kids, how much they've changed throughout the trip. It's really hard to tell which part the trip made them, which part the trip changed them, and which part they just grew. Because kids change all the time, so it's really hard for us to tell apart, but to see them, I know they change a lot, to become a lot less shy during the trip because they had to they meet other kids from all over the world, and they realized that to make a connection, they had to go straight away and not be shy and really go, if not they would miss out. So I think they kept that coming back home.
And also one thing we can really see the kids evolving is, for example, if the cable car had happened at the beginning and not at the end, I'm sure it wouldn't have been as
Easy.
well, easy is not the right word. We wouldn't have, when we came out the next day, for them it was like, oh, that's a funny adventure. There was no traumatizer or anything. So I think they changed in the sense that they've adapted so much, they've become so resilient. We've had so many situations, good or bad, but 16-hour bus trips, night buses, night trains, things like that. Not always comfortable, but
Never comfortable.
yeah, never comfortable. But in a sense that we've been able to together, develop, a sense of humor and a sense of going through situations where at some point they're like looking at us, they're like, parents, you're the one who should behave. We're not the one who should be telling you. So that talks a lot to, how they've evolved throughout that trip. So I think that's one way when we look back that we say, it's incredible the journey they've been through.
Time for one more question. Right, well, I'll just go right here.
I'd like to speak to
Well,
me. I'd like to speak to the with all the, strides we've made in medicine and specialists, is there any way or anything that we can do, or have you looked into, looking at specialists to try to get their eyesight? You know, cause they have things where you can get new retinas, get new eyes, just anything.
Well, there's a lot of research going on, and there's a lot of things that are promising. But right now, there's no solution as it is today. There's one treatment for, one form of retinitis pigmentosa, but, retinitis pigmentosa is caused by like over 100 different genes, so, and that treatments target a specific gene, and it's not the one that my kids has, so as it is today, we've looked, you know, we have like very good, doctors, and they're aware worldwide of what's going on, but, so far, there's nothing. But maybe, that's why it's so important to fund research, because there's things going on, it's going really fast in that area, especially with gene therapy, but as it is today, there's nothing.
I have to end it, but I think this film will bring even more awareness, and hopefully it will lead to some sort of, I mean, not cure, but I don't know, some sort of answer to that question, and hopefully it will lead to a development in the cureness. Anyway, I wanna thank Ed, Edith, Sebastian, and the crowd for coming. Thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you.